Good tidings to you. I ponder whether the fact is true that your day has been filled with mirth, or whether the alternate fact is true that your day will have been filled with vigorous effort put toward a singular educational goal. In this video, we'll learn how to not do what I just did. Instead of prevaricating, we'll aim to be clear, concise, and direct with our writing. Alright, we will cover writing principles in this video and in two others, which comprise the foundational techniques for 5 and 6 essays. William Skunk's now famous Elements of Style provides us with a good starting point. Vigorous writing is concise. Just as an engineer aims to build a machine with the least amount of parts, or a programmer aims to write programs with the least amount of code, we too will aim to write sentences and paragraphs with the least amount of words. To do this, we must have strong fundamentals. This video will be concerned with style. The others will deal with mechanics and punctuation. So, let's begin. First and foremost, where else would we begin but with wordiness? You cannot be concise if you are wordy. And actually, it is more difficult to be understood if you use a lot of words. So only leave what is essential. Always ask yourself, can I say this point with less? Most of the stylistic principles that follow in this video will flow from this single point. So if you remember anything, remember this one. Here's an example. It's a strange thing that happens to writers. At some point, they get a twisted idea lodged in their head, and I'm not sure where it comes from, but it takes hold and invariably makes their writing terse, choppy, confusing, and altogether a chore to read. They think that writing a long sentence or a paragraph is tantamount to good writing. This is absolutely not true. Good writing is concise, direct, and clear. So do not write a sentence like this one. Upon entering the room used for learning, I was confronted by a large group of people, similar in age to me, who were already sitting in their chairs awaiting the beginning of the lecture. Remember, mature writing isn't mature because of big words and complex grammatical structures. Mature writing is mature because of the ideas, and the ideas are subtly presented, and the reasoning is balanced and critical. As part of our quest for clear, direct writing, we must aim to eliminate redundancy. That means don't repeat an idea within a sentence. You should always aim to move forward, to progress, to build upon what you have already written. So, sometimes redundancy can be hard to see at first. It's not necessarily the repetition of a word, it can also be the repetition of an idea. For example, if you are leaving and have to complete a task before you go, then your order of operations is clear. Task first, then leave. There's no reason to say that you should do something first before you go. Likewise, some words mean the exact same thing, but are used together often. In the second example, we have the two words cooperate and together. Now, in order to cooperate, you have to do it together. There is no such thing as individual cooperation, unless you suffer from severe split personalities. Eliminate together and just say cooperate. That gets your point across just fine. All these phrases occur often and can be revised to be more concise. Pause the video and copy these down if you don't know them. Identify redundancy and write a more concise phrase. When trying to convince someone of your point of view, it is important to not overstate your point. A mature writer will qualify their statements in order to make them less extreme. And a weaker writer will overqualify their statements, afraid to fully take a stance one way or the other. The goal is to remain reasonable, but not reluctant. Notice how uncertain the person is in the first sentence. They obviously have not made up their mind on the issue and are hesitant to recommend the introduction of this animal. But look at the more concise sentence. This person expresses a reservation in a clear and direct way. We know where they stand on the issue. So, qualify what you are saying in a clear and concise way, and that's it. Active voice, as the name implies, is more active and engaging writing style. The subject of the sentence does the action. I study for the GRE, as opposed to the passive voice in which the sentence receives the action. In which the subject receives the action. The GRE is studied by me. Passive voice occurs in weak writing and is usually a sign of not revising. Also, when a writer is not planning what they will say, they tend to use the passive voice more often. Ask yourself who or what is doing the action and put that person or thing in the subject position of the sentence. Just like our reading, our writing is active too. So, Here we have a passive construction. Passive voice can be used if you don't know who did the action or you don't want to place blame on the person or group who committed the action, but these situations are rare and I don't foresee you needing to do this in your essay. So, why not give credit to your friend who cooked a delicious meal? Also, in some passive constructions, the doer won't be in the sentence, so you'll have to revise the sentence to include the group or the person who is actually doing the action. In your writing, you want to avoid excessively making reference to yourself. It's not that I don't think you're a wonderful person. I do. But you should avoid talking about yourself on the GRE. Mature writers just state what they believe or feel. Their belief or feeling is implicit in the statement they are making. Look at this example. Not only is the second sentence more concise, the statement of opinion is more forceful without the self-reference. The opinion is already implicit in the word should, so why come right out and say it's your opinion? Poor cliches. They used to be captivating and exciting, but just like that favorite song we put on repeat and listened to for a month nonstop, cliches lost their luster from overuse. So, when you write your essay on the GRE, avoid using them. Even though they are pervasive in speech, in mature writing they will be scant. So if you find yourself using a cliche, consider what the cliche means and make your own inventive and clever saying. When you locate a cliche in your writing, you have two options. You can state directly what you mean, or you can engage your reader with a brand new, never before read saying that will soon catch on and be used by everyone, and then fall into the category of cliches to be avoided in your own writing. It's a twisted logic, I know. Here we have some of the more common cliches that you should avoid, like the plague. I mean that you should avoid like the tax collect. I mean to put it in a nut. You know what I mean. Don't use them. Along these lines, you should also aim to avoid slang and colloquial phrases in your GRE essay. These phrases are appropriate for informal writing, like text messages and emails to friends. But when you sit down to write a GRE essay, you need to elevate your diction. So avoid contractions like don't and it's, and definitely do not use slang words like gonna, shred the gnar, or awesomely stoked. The difference between these two sentences should be stark. One is clearly appropriate for an essay, and another is clearly appropriate for your friends. Revise your writing to eliminate slang and colloquialism. You need to use appropriate diction for your audience. I mean, you wouldn't use formal language with your friends, right? Don't use it on the GRE. Revising these openings will make your writing not only more direct, but since you're using less words, you're more concise. Notice how these revisions are not only stronger and more forceful, but they are also more concise. We're using less words to convey the same point. This is successful writing. And here's another example. And obviously, this is more concise as well. The individuals reading and scoring your essay have lots and lots and lots of essays to read. Do not make them work more than they have to. And actually, you should try to make it as easy as possible for them to read your writing and determine your point. And as part of this process, you must avoid vague language. Use words that are clear and precise. Don't fumble around with a couple of words when one word would suffice. Notice how these first sentences lack clarity and precision. And we, as readers, are left wondering what this person is talking about. How more vague could writing be? Do something? Those two words could refer to any number of things. Deciding on what to eat for dinner, running a marathon, or raising money for breast cancer. The last principle is dumping your superfluous sentences. Do not write sentences that have no purpose, or don't further your point, or just restate what's already been said. Say what you want to say. Don't preface your points with extra sentences. In this example, 3 sentences are used to convey a point when all you need is 1 sentence. Notice how informal the first 3 sentences are, too. Writing a question and answering it immediately can be a useful rhetorical device when done correctly. Unfortunately, this author failed in this respect the first time, but caught the error and eliminated it when they revised the sentence. Well, we have covered 10 principles for concise, clear, and direct writing. Follow these principles and you'll be on track for a 5 or 6 on your essay. Memorize these principles, sleep with them under your pillow, and start following them. Your writing will be clear, your points will be direct, and your explanations will be concise. This will take some time and practice, but trust me, you can do it. Alright, that's enough from me. I look forward to your expedited return in the video that follows the video you are presently watching at this moment in time and space. See you in the next video. Be excellent to each other.